Wagyu Kakasa, Wagyu Kifate. I just want to touch on a few points which have been discussed, and I feel I've sort of taken the direction of today's press conference in another way. This groundbreaking report, it's an initial investigation into the patterns, the behaviours, the factors which were used from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and to current day to coerce, to groom, to exploit young Sikh women across the UK. Since 2005, the terms grooming, CSC exploitation, localized grooming, street grooming, so forth, they've been plastered across the media, but organizations across the country, Sikh organizations, have been talking about this since the 1970s. And when they, as discussed, as mentioned, when they went to the local authorities, it was often brushed off as, cultural issues and, just an Asian problem. But then since 2005, the big convictions in Rotherham, Rochdale, Huddersfield, have raised a light on this disease. And once the newspapers, the media started to look at the CPS, started to look into the patterns being used, the systematic abuse, these weren't just, it has to be emphasized, there's different forms of grooming. These weren't just individuals operating. These were gangs, organized gangs with, links in social services, evidence to suggest that there were links in the police, also the local councils, to cover this abuse. Local businesses used to launder money involved with, exploiting prostituting these young girls out. It was a big network. But the Sikh groups have been talking about the same systematic patterns being used against Sikh girls. But the authorities, social services, they still refuse to raise light on the Sikh issue. And now people have mentioned to us previously, but yeah, all girls are groomed. We completely agree. All girls across all communities can be abused, but we're a Sikh youth and smart, a Sikh-based community organisations. The overwhelming majority of the, I don't like to use the term victim. I like to prefer the term survivors, because they're coming forward. They're coming to us are from the Sikh background, because we predominantly operate in this demographic. So it's not a witch hunt against any other community. We will focus on the Sikh victims because those are the ones who come to us. You have other organisations based in certain regions. For example, on a risky business, they were based in Rotherham. They will focus on the Rotherham area, Rochdale areas, and so forth. We will focus on the Sikh community in the UK. And it was also mentioned that we as a community, we don't value Sikh women, we don't value Sikh girls. Hence, why a lot of this abuse is occurring. If you look at our actual case studies, if you look at the reports that have been going on across the board, these are children, these are school children under the age of 16 being, if you look at the actual definition of grooming, building a trust with an adult, building a relationship of trust with a victim in order to sexually exploit them. We're talking about children. They're, under a legal definition, they're minors. And these are adults taking advantage of them. We can't simply scapegoat and say it's a Sikh community not valuing women. We place women on a pedestal. If you look here, half the panel is women. It's an issue of predators outside targeting our girls, exploiting the system, and the authorities and the system's failure to address this issue. It's an easy way out of saying it's a failure of the Sikh community to value women. The Sikh, organizations such as ours, the Share Up and Job back in the 80s, 90s, they were focused on helping Sikh women. If you look at our history, it's focused on helping Sikh women. So I think that's a terrible point to make. I just want to point out as well, as I mentioned, there's various forms of grooming. A lot of the cases that are discussed in this study are of street grooming. That's more of an informal term, but it's under the Child Exploitation and Online Protection Organisation, which is a government agency. It's defined as Type 1 abuse, whereby just to summarize, really, it's gangs exploiting underage women. It's different to type 2 women where it's type 2 grooming, where it's more one-on-one individuals who have a specific interest in child. It's slightly different definitions. And what we're seeing is, although in recent years there's been legislation implemented, such as to try and tackle the issue as an overview. For example, Section 67 of the Serious Crime Act 2015, to stop sexual communication with a child. There's still holes in the system. As mentioned, as previously mentioned, there's perpetrators who are grooming the girls from under the age of 16, waiting till the age of consent at 16, then taking advantage. And there's victims such as these who are 16, 17, who are falling through a system, who we continuously see are being abused. And because they're over the age of 16, the police don't like to really intrude, because they feel that she's over 16 and it's not grooming. But on the flip side as well, there's legislation being introduced, Section 76 of the Serious Crime Act 2015, coercive and controlling behaviour in an intimate relationship. This is specifically for adults. It's where control and coercive methods are being used to keep a victim in a relationship. And this is what we're seeing again. We're seeing this over and over again in the cases that we're seeing. And although there's legislation in place, the police are not. There's a lack of prosecutions in this area. We need the authorities, the police to work with bodies such as ourselves, third parties who understand the issues from a grass level, and they can spot. Then they can work in conjunction with us to spot the signs and work together. Work on specific cases so they understand cases. As previously mentioned, the crux of this argument of this report is that a lot of the abuse, it was targeted religiously and racially targeted. Again, the police are failing to record these details. They're failing to understand the cultural issue, the cultural issues that perpetrators are taking advantage of. They're not recording it. And again, it's organizations such as SMART and Sikh Youth who can aid in helping the police identify these issues. Thank you very much.